Hello and welcome back to the Hearthstone Alphabet Tournament Basic League. We're in the last game of the quarterfinals. Today's game S versus U, Rogue versus Paladin. Having a look at the deck list here, both decks quite aggressive with, relative to the rest of the league, quite low curves. I think that the S deck has more tools for ball control with Sap, Backstab, Fan of Knives, etc. and does have more card draw. The Paladin U deck, however, has a couple of things going for it, mainly the big minions, so if the game does go turn 10 onwards, the Paladin may have a bit of advantage on the board, and a bit of healing with the Guardian of Kings at the bottom there to survive the Rogue's aggression. Okay, game number 1. The Paladin's hand looking quite good, nice little curve, Bluegill Warrior for some early aggression, and has a mid to late game couple of cards. The Rogue's hand, very low curve, has the perfect answer for this Bluegill Warrior in terms of the Shiv. Could also use the hero power, takes a bit more damage that way, but then has the weapon that you can use next turn on a minion. However, I think I preferred Shiv there because that weapon won't be able to deal with anything other than a dude. Oh no, but he has to use a dude because doesn't have enough mana for any of his free drops, so this has worked out quite nicely, and now we'll be able to put the Riverless Crocodile down, I imagine. So quite a good start for the Rogue there. If the Paladin had a 2-drop, for example a Frostwolf Grunt, I think the Paladin would have been in the driving seat here, but there we go. Probably see the Iron Fur Grizzly come down, which is still a good target for the Shiv in tandem with the Crocolisk. I'd like to point out the Oasis Snapjaw can be very tricky to get off the board with its 7 health. Paladin's Humility reduces the attacks, but a 1/7 can still chip away at the weaker minions like the Cleric or the dudes, or takes 2 swings from a True Silver, which isn't ideal. In this kind of matchup, I think you want to be sending as many of those True Silver swings going face, especially as the Rogue has drawn the powerhouse combo Assassin's Blade and Deadly Poison. With the Oasis Snapjaw, this is looking very good for the Rogue. Light's Justice, a measly weapon in comparison. The Gurubashi does make things a bit trickier. I'm wondering if you just ignore the Gurubashi for a moment and go, maybe use the Assassinate and hold off. Yeah, gonna hold off on the weapon until the time is just right, until the Rogue has complete ball control, but not if the Paladin can do something about that. The second True Silver come down to finish off this Snapjaw. I think the Snapjaw did its job very well there, took a lot of swings. Oh, easy Fan of Knives. Easy. And then you can play the Stormwind. However, the Rogue has decided it's time for the aggression. The Murlocs must not be threatening enough for the Rogue to want to deal with, which I can understand. However, now the Rogue has left himself open to the Cleric and the Taunt. That's unfortunate though that he's chosen to buff up the Iron Fur. It looks good on paper, but because of the sap, that buff has practically gone to waste and keeps the minions, the Murlocs, weak to your Fan of Knives. That's unfortunate. Rogue still pressing face and going to use the minions for... Nope, going full on aggression here. Wow. This could backfire because the Paladin has a heal with the Guardian of Kings and 2 more taunts. How is the Rogue going to get through this? It's practically gone all in at this point. And will the Paladin do the same? Yep, the Paladin thinks you may be able to get through one of those taunts, but you're not getting through the other. Rogue draws the second sap, which will help massively. Can even go through both of these taunts, because Yeah, puts that one away. We'll use the Fan of Knives to really weaken the board. And the Rogue still has one charge on its weapon after this, and has enough mana for a second Stormwind Champion. Continues to push face, giving the Paladin very little wiggle room. May have to play the Guardian of Kings because the Taunt is too likely to die, and then he'll die. He needs the health. Can't rely on the Taunt to protect him. If he does, it may end quite badly. Might even be worth throwing a Humility on one of the Stormwind Knights, just to give him a little bit more time. Chooses to go for the aggressive option though, do a bit of face damage. They are both, well, the Rogue is actually even lower than the Paladin, but the Paladin doesn't have any more True Silvers, so it doesn't have as much burst. The Rogue can, perfect Acidic Swampus to deny that. Let's say the Rogue does have 2 Reckless Rocketeers as well, so the Rogue has a lot more burst than the Paladin, but the Paladin does have the Taunt. Let's see what he draws. There is lethal on the board. Light's Justice is not what you want to see, so the Taunt's obviously coming down. You've got to use the Humility to reduce the damage. That would be, with the Humility 4, that'd be 6. So at least 4 is going face, unless he's got to trade. He's got to trade, otherwise he's probably dead. But he may risk it. If he risks it, he might be fine. Yep, there's the Humility. Going wide. I think you definitely trade. You make the Rogue have the answer, and then you'll be able to get lethal next turn. Definitely trade. It's battle of the top decks now, as both players have emptied their hand. See what the Rogue gets. Fan of Knives, card draw, it's really nice, and does damage to the Taunt, which is super important. Sinister Strike. Draws lethal off the top. No? No, it's 1 off. It's 1 off lethal. The Cleric will kill the Taunt, and that's 5 with the minion. So what does he do? The Rogue is not dead next turn either, so that's only 7, 8 on the Paladin side for damage. 1 HP. This has got to be the top deck of the century. What do we get? We get lethal. Unbelievable. Nice. That was a very close game. Played very aggressively. I enjoyed that a lot. Paladin takes game number 1. Okay, game number 2. The Paladin's hand being very, I think as aggressive as it could get. The Rogue's hand, let's have a look. It's a little bit more control. Those Fan of Knives would be really good for dealing with those bluegills. It's possibly choosing to, tempoing out one of the oozes. Oh no! Whoa, chooses to coin hero power. I have a feeling that was kind of a misplay. I think they were really set on the tempo ooze and then changed their minds, but they'd already used the coin. So I don't think you usually want to coin hero power turn 1. I don't think that's good use of the coin. So I'm going to put that down to a playing too fast kind of misplay. Still in the aggressive mind from last game, just like play everything, go face. But as I was kind of halfway through saying, the Rogue's hand has a little bit more control with the sap, and that deadly poison may go on to a hero powered weapon to help control the board. Has a nice amount of card draw with the Fan of Knives and Shiv. The Paladin's hand draws the True Silver, which will definitely meet the other end of an ooze. But it will still get 1 swing in and 4 damage. You can take it, especially in an aggressive matchup, but this may play out to be like. And even has the backup True Silver. 2 swords. It's better than 1. It's like a Witcher. Only they're both silver. Draws the backstab. This is an easy Thanatized turn. And I think you save the weapon charge for a minion and use the Sinner Strike. Did a bit of face damage. Murloc Tidehunter, and you can buffalo up with a Cleric, which I think you do, yeah.
We must cleanse the Sunwell.
I think the buffed one will get a backstab, the 1/1 will get a Shiv. Doesn't leave enough mana for the Stormwind Knight, unfortunately, so I think the Cleric may get the weapon to the face. Draws the second backstab, may just choose to backstab both targets. He might even go for the Tempo Ooze play, which normal circumstances I think would be alright. No, it doesn't. But because there were 2 true silvers in the hand, would be a mistake. But doesn't. It's keeping hold of it. The Gorilla Basher comes down. It makes for an easy sap target.
For the king.
So far, the Paladin has just played everything he's got, and the Rogue has just answered. The Rogue getting maybe quite lucky with the top decks. Has one more, well, if you're counting Reckless Rocketeer as an answer, which I sometimes do because it usually just goes into a minion and dies but kills the minion. It's got 2 more answers in the hand. Paladin still hasn't managed to squeeze in a true silver champion, but as he gets more mana and fewer cards, that won't be a problem. Is the Rogue gonna kill the dude? I think it should. Yeah, keeping ball control, nice. You would rather have the Rogue's hero power compared to the Paladins in this case, in this game matchup. Stone Tusk Boar, not gonna do too much. The Paladin doesn't have the any blessings which can increase its damage, so the Boar is a bit of a shrug. It's a bit like a mortar coil but doesn't draw or go past taunts. Finally draws the Assassin's Blade. Might have to you don't want that Boulder Fist Ogre up for long, so might have to sacrifice the Reckless Rocketeer and the Stormwind Knight just to deal with the Ogre. That's not ideal. But the Paladin's so low that the Rogue is just choosing to go all out on face. Giving the Paladin, this Stone Tusk Boar actually will be relevant because he's choosing to leave the dude up, so that dude with the boar can kill the 5/2. The Ogre can easily value trade, and then the Paladin can heal. This is all backfired for the Rogue. Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear. The Paladin now looking to be in a very strong spot. That is a good top deck to get rid of the Boldface Ogre, but then how are you getting rid of the Guardian of Kings, because both saps have been used, but there are still two assassinates. The Rogue needs to draw an assassinate soon, otherwise it's going to take too much damage before it can get rid of that Guardian of Kings, I think. So thinking about playing the Assassin's Blade, and Rido. It's going to tempo out the use to hopefully it gets ignored, and then can surprise burst with the Reckless Rocketeer. I think that Reckless Rocketeer is now going to have to go face. The Rogue has essentially put the game on clock, saying if you don't kill me, I'm going to kill you. In how much damage does the Rogue has? It's got 3, 6 with the weapon, so that is 11. That is 11. But obviously, as we expected, that's all going to go wrong because of the trade and then the heal from the True Silver. Putting the Rogue in a potentially unwinnable situation here. The Cleric's no good. This will keep the. Hang on, what's going on? It's not lethal. I think the Rogue knows and has Giving up. Yeah. Not the right draw. And the Paladin had the good draws. Takes a very quick series there. Takes it 2-1. Just look at the current standings. The Paladin U deck will now go on to face in the semi-final the mind controlling O deck, represented by the Priest. But our next game will be the Warrior E deck versus the Mage L deck. We've got 4 pretty strong classes in the semi-finals. I'm excited to see where it goes. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned.